March 1st, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. Around 7 o'clock, which is right where this big green candle occurred, that was the ISM manufacturing PMI number that came out, so it caused this big reaction. Overall, prices just kind of slowly rallied up, and actually I drew this red channel probably after this touch, but even then it wasn't something I really trusted. There was all these little channels in between that I had to draw, like this blue one, this purple one, and then in between there was these smaller consolidation areas, smaller little tighter ranges, tighter trading channels. And it was kind of hard, or the challenging thing was to find solid trend channels to work with, but it ended up being like a lot of little piecemeal trading channels. And so I took one trade today, which is right here. I'm going to go through it. This is the pre-market. So pre-market had a spike up, two legs up, and then two legs down, a very big leg. There was no economic data to justify why this happened. And then it looked like there was two legs, but just also one big leg. Then the market opened. At this point, I thought it was going to be in a trading range because yesterday was just kind of oscillating, and today it looked like it's just kind of continuing from yesterday. So I was expecting more of a trading range today. The price is open. It creates a new high. No good setups. I do see a trading range, just a little congested right now. This is only about, let's see, about 3 points. So nothing I'm too fanatical about. Prices then kind of move down on this green channel. Keep in mind this red channel doesn't exist yet. Now it creates what it looks like it's another trading range. I actually had this kind of where the midline is, and then later I extended it down. So I'll just go ahead and move it up. This was a little bit higher like this, had a fail breakout. I saw this as a potential triple test, second entry short. It's kind of what I would call an almost trade because it's a nice triple test, but this doji bar I wasn't a big fan of. Maybe if it closed more bearish, then I'd feel more ready to take a trade. And then once this next candle closes, because here I'm not ready to take a trade because I don't know what's going to go on. I want to see what the next candle does. I can't quite trust the triple test yet. Then after this candle opens and closes, it feels like it's too late. It kind of moves down, so that's where I actually drag the trading range down to here. Fortunately, I missed that trade, but I just kind of wait. I'm looking, okay, there's a potential triple test down here, but this isn't a very good signal bar. It's too bearish. Here, nothing tells me to get ready for a long trade, and then when it flashes up again, I feel like I might have missed this trade. At this point, because I wasn't sure what the bottom of the range was, I was playing with the idea that it might actually be lower here. The one touch, two touch, and then potentially three touch. And the midline's roughly right here. But when you see this, there's nothing telling me to get ready for a trade, even though there's a triple test. This candle needed to be bullish for me to be ready. Like if this candle here was right here or right here, then I probably would have gotten the trade ready. Same thing with this guy. It needed a more bearish candle, maybe like this low bearish candle up here with a closed nice at the bottom. Then it flashes up. This is right where the 7 o'clock ISM manufacturing numbers come out. Pops around. It's kind of a no trade area because it's looking very, very busy, very whipsaw. Saw this is one leg down, pull back, second leg down. And here I actually saw a possible higher low, but I didn't act on it quickly enough because it creates a double bottom. It's a break of this. So like two legs down for sure. I did draw this trend line. It wasn't a channel yet, but I saw, okay, maybe there's a bounce off of here. EMA doesn't really quite come into play, but I still took into the fact that it did have a little bit of support. So I kind of took that as another potential key entry point, but not strong enough on its own to kind of shift the trade, but it's just extra little nice things that you see might help. And it had a really strong close. So I was thinking maybe there's a trade here, and then it flashes up. So it definitely was too late on that one. Had to be a little bit more, I guess, aggressive with that trade if I wanted to make sure I got it. Prices move up, kind of moves up on this yellow channel. At this point in time, I was playing with various ideas of trying to find a larger channel. It didn't quite fit this way, didn't quite fit this way, and it kind of fit this way. And then I kind of drew the top side right here. So the beginnings of this red up channel was starting to form. Prices then kind of chop sideways, nothing I particularly like, breaks out. It looks like it's kind of had some EMA support here because you do technically, you could say it's a new high, first entry long, second entry long. There is a third entry long, but there's nothing here. It's a nice bounce off the EMA, but that's not good enough. Here you do have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. This isn't a good signal bar to indicate to you to get a trade ready. Prices then kind of chop, saw one leg down, push up. It looks like it was respecting the EMA, then it flashes back up. You have a new low, first entry short, you don't get a second entry short, so you kind of have to abandon the idea of potentially going short, but now things are starting to develop, and it looks like it drew the pre-market highs and lows. It looks like it could potentially be a fail breakout, but it had a long dwell time outside, so I wasn't too sure that it was going to be a trading range anymore. Plus, this channel isn't confirmed yet, but it's starting to look like prices are trending that way. So I'm still just kind of sitting on my hands, watching and waiting. Kind of chops around, starts moving up on what I think is this yellow channel. This yellow channel doesn't fit the best. I was thinking maybe it's something a little bit higher here. And it kind of breaks through. So it's a new high. It's first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now this second entry long creates a higher low right here. It's first entry long, second entry long, break of this yellow channel, makes one attempt up. This could be the start of a second attempt. And I thought this actually might have been a possible trade because it's starting to try to push up to test the highs. It's a pretty small risk because it's only a 4-tick signal bar. And even though the EMA was kind of being respected here, it pushed down but immediately reversed on this candle. And this one looked like it was going to have trouble breaking through. So I think if I wanted to take a trade, I'd probably put it on the next candle one tick above this guy. Since the candle is such a small candle, 4 ticks, you can give it a little bit of room. So I probably would have put it one tick above. And then it looks like it would have gotten filled and likely gotten the quick scalp. I also saw this setup, but I don't think it's a trade because it's a potential triple test. First attempt up, second attempt up, back, third attempt up. Now I saw this as one push up, pull back, second push up. So I'm thinking the uptrend of this guy might have played out. It's a new low, first entry short, second entry short. The thing I don't like about going short is it's definitely counter trend to the overall market bias at this point because it's just starting to look like it's starting to trend up. You could base your decision off the strength of the triple test, but it wasn't quite clean enough, in my opinion, to feel safe about taking that trade. Then prices moved down. I said if I wanted to take a trade, I'd probably wait for a lower high confirmation. So here you do get a lower high. The thing I didn't like about this lower high is it's potentially hitting some kind of support because previously it looked like there was a little bit of trouble for price action to break through this blue line. It tried kind of once here, but more deliberately tried once here, then tried twice here. Now I was thinking I might be in a trading range, so I'd be selling into the lows on a clearly bullish day. So it'd be counter trend and it's not in my favor. I was thinking there is potentially a green channel down, but that still wasn't a good enough justification because it looks like it's still, a little bit iffy because it could on the next one bounce right back up and try to test this high. But in fact, it actually moves down. So I wasn't quite correct on the read, so I'm okay not taking this trade though. Then it kind of bounces off. This is kind of where it makes the third touch. It was a little iffy here, and I was playing with it because if you adjust this red channel, it affects the top. So this wasn't super confirmed yet, but at least I saw some kind of reaction down here. So I'm thinking maybe it's going to at least attempt to come back up to the high side. So it makes one first entry short, second entry short. This isn't a very good signal bar to go short on, yet it looked like traders tried to push it down and then it recovered past the halfway point. So I thought, okay, maybe there's an actual trade here. It could be a failed second entry short to continue the bullish momentum, but I want to make sure it breaks above this candle. So it finally does. It pushes, so it opens here, pushes up, and it closes low. I decided, okay, this is a trade I want to take off a failed second entry short. I enter kind of at the close just to give myself a little more room because I just wanted to risk as little as possible. So actually my risk was down here below this candle. So it'd be a 151.24 even. My entry is at 51.25.75. So I'm risking about 7 ticks. And I was just kind of see what happens. I entered. It chops around. I had to sit through this doji after this one closes the doji because I actually entered before this one closed. and it looked like it was going to power up, but then it pushed back at the last moment and lost about 1 tick. So I thought, okay, well, let's see what happens. And I realized it was kind of making a first entry short, second entry short, higher low setup, kind of helping confirm this potential move back up. And the next candle, it does push up and give me my scalp. So I was kind of happy with that one. But it's actually one touch, depending on how you count it, this could be one touch, two touch, three touch, triple test, or a fourth test. But here, it had trouble breaking through. I'm not convinced I should be going short. Here it flashes down. Now I'm thinking maybe there's time to go short, but I don't like that the EMA is starting to trend up. But it looked like it would have worked. You also have a new high, say first entry long, pull back, second entry long right here. Now, excuse me. Now it's a break of this orange down channel. So I'm thinking prices might potentially come back down, but it's a strong push up and over the EMA. The signal bar is technically this red one, but it was engulfed entirely by the trigger bar. So that was leaving me a little unsure because remember, this blue line, this blue channel doesn't exist yet. And I was thinking prices might come back down to test the bottom of this red channel. So I wasn't too convinced yet because this orange down channel wants prices to come back down and test its low because it has a firm break and close outside. So the next few candles could chop around, then come back down. So it's kind of a second entry long, but I wasn't quite convinced to take it yet. Flashes up. It looks like it has trouble again against this resistance. Pushes up. It has like a spike and then a yellow channel up. Here you don't really get any second entries, you just get first entries. There is a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Now this second entry long, I thought it was kind of an almost trade because prices are actually making all-time highs. It's never been up here before. It's a very strong market today, but that doesn't mean I can just assume and take for granted that prices are going to continue to move up. So I was weary of that fact, and I thought I was in a trading range. So it has a first entry long, second entry long. You're not thinking going long yet, but here you have a confirmed second entry long, but you're also very, very close to the highs now. You're also potentially buying at the top of this trading range. So that those reasons were enough to make me just kind of sit on my hands. Of course, then it moves up, very strongly pushing up now. So I don't have this blue channel drawn yet, but I did have this top trend line touching once, touching twice, three times. So I not arbitrarily, but I just kind of thought maybe there's some kind of blue channel here. It starts moving, it moves past this consolidation area. And I saw this setup. Technically, it's a new high, double top, but I saw it as a new high. Since it's a bearish candle, I said maybe one push, maybe there's a second push, but then I didn't really count as a second entry, but I did draw this purple channel going up. It's very shallow. Now I marked it just for my own self, and I have it in my notes, is this is very interesting. As I understand, if there's a very strong push, very strong trend going up, then you could probably enter on any decent looking signal bar. And this is a very strong signal bar. But the thing I don't like about it is too close to the all-time highs. It needed to be this candle that was super duper green. Like if this candle, instead of red, were green, then I think I might have taken that trade because it's bouncing off of here and it's showing there is some kind of strong support. It might have been a trade here, but unfortunately it closed bearish, so you had to leave it alone. And then here, the trade definitely felt like it's too late. I saw this here as a first entry long, second entry long. Now, this is what I also think is an almost setup. It didn't come back down to the EMA. It also didn't come down to touch the purple this time. If it came down to touch the purple, then I would have thought I missed this opportunity here. I potentially missed this opportunity here. Of course, this was early on. So this first labeled second entry long, you don't have this purple channel established yet, or at least I didn't. So it's a little early to just assume that, the purple channel exists. This one was kind of a iffy, it might actually keep going up and touch the high side. But then when it gets to here, you can tell that it's kind of losing a little power. This candle isn't as nice. This one's a little more, has a little more of a stem, first entry, second entry. So it's what I consider an almost setup. Then when the signal bar, confirms with this trigger bar, now it's definitely feeling too late again because I don't want to keep pushing against the highs. It's been characteristically strong today, but I shouldn't take that for granted and just assume it's going to keep going up. But it turns out today was one of those days that it just kept going up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to ride that. This purple channel, it has a violation now as an overshoot. And that's where I thought, okay, maybe this blue channel is coming into play, one touch, two touch, but then it kind of fits nicely at the top. So now I'm thinking maybe it's moving into this blue channel. And inside the blue channel was this purple channel. And inside both of that, both of those were on the inside of this red dominating channel. So it pushes up, kind of touches here. There's no second entries. Then it keeps pricing through. It looks like it's entering a consolidation. You have a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Unfortunately, the second entry long is now below the EMA, whereas previously EMA is kind of holding up prices. Had a little fault here. It's faltering. It's a little bit weak here. And here, definitely, there's a closeout and push below. Because this one pushed below. These two candles closed out. It finally pushed above. That makes me a little more cautious. Then here, assuming it's going to keep moving up, then you're just basing it off the strength of this blue channel, which isn't as clean as I'd like. Plus, I already touched the high side of the red. So I'm thinking first entry long, it's probably going to pull back, make a second entry long, or make a second leg to touch the bottom of this red channel. So I didn't really like this as a setup. Kind of consolidates, chops around. You do have a new low here. It's a first entry short. And then technically you have a second entry short right here, starting to count from here. First entry short, second entry short. This isn't a good signal bar. Nothing here would indicate to me to start getting ready for a short. Then this one definitely confirms a second entry short, but you're running into potential support now. I don't want to sell at the lows. Prices continue moving through, and I'm watching this. I'm wondering if it's going to hit the bottom of this red channel. It kind of creates this spiky, spindly price action, which I don't really like. The first entry long here, second entry long, but this isn't a good clean setup. Kind of chops around. I'm thinking there might be a sub trading range. Well, I drew the highs here because it looked like it's one touch, two touch, three touch. Here, I was thinking, is it going to have enough strength to push back down? Because up until now, prices now went from the low side of the red channel, low side to high side, back to low, back to high, back to low, back to high, back to not quite low, and it's chopping sideways. So now it's wondering if there's enough strength to push back to the highs, or if it's going to ride and maybe break through this red up channel. But it's also too late in the day because it's around 12:50 Pacific Standard, and that's only 10 minutes left. So I wasn't really looking for a trade now, but I was just watching the price action unfold. And it kind of moves back into the close. So kind of an interesting day. I unfortunately missed, I think, a potential setup right here. This lower high, this higher low, is a relatively small risk because it's a pretty small candle. Worth taking a risk on because there's a break of this yellow, one attempt up, second attempt. So this one I think was a trade that if I was more in tune, I probably could have taken. It looks like a rather decent trade. And then the trade I did take was a little more iffy. I was lucky it kind of worked itself out. And I think this trade might have been okay because it's two legs down, clear support, strong push up. This one is engulfing. This one might have been a trade worth taking. So could have probably, if I was on top of my game, taken two confident trades. And then the one trade I did take, it was, I think, okay. It's a little so-so. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Hopefully that was helpful.